Tasan Experiment. When Western medicine created a superhuman and why they had to hide him, viral hook. There's a moment in this Tasan film that changes everything. It happens during a healing ceremony in an African village when a dying infant receives two medicines simultaneously, one from a Western doctor, one from a traditional shaman. The child survives, but something else happens. Something the shaman sees in the child's eyes. Something that makes him immediately turn to the doctor and say, "Porter cannot know." It could be very dangerous for Tasan. It could be very dangerous for us all. What did that mixture create? Why does a respected village elder believe the fusion of Western and indigenous medicine produced something the world isn't ready for? And here's the question that should terrify you. If this transformation was accidental, what happens when someone tries to replicate it on purpose? By the end of this deep dive, you'll understand why this seemingly innocent children's film contains one of the darkest implications in modern animation. A story about human enhancement, medical ethics, and the terrifying consequences of playing God with a child's biology. This isn't the Tasan you think you know. This is the story of the first superhuman and the conspiracy to keep him hidden. The setup. Let's establish what we're dealing with. The film opens in an African rainforest where Dr. Porter, a Western scientist, works alongside a local village to study medicinal plants. His colleague Maviro is about to leave for London University, a significant detail we'll return to. During this visit, tragedy strikes. An infant in the village becomes critically ill, so sick that traditional methods alone seem insufficient. Enter the ceremony. The shaman performs a ritual invoking the power of the mighty lion, great gorilla, and racing cheetah. Specific animals, not random choices. Simultaneously, Dr. Porter administers his Western pharmaceutical intervention. The camera focuses on the moment these medicines merge in the child's system. There's a visual emphasis on the child's eyes changing. The shaman sees it. Maviro sees it. And their immediate reaction isn't celebration. It's fear. The child survives, but Dr. Porter is told the child died. This lie becomes the foundation of everything that follows. The baby is given to Kala, a gorilla, to raise. He's named Tasan, child of the jungle. And here's where the film reveals its hand. Tasan doesn't just survive in the jungle. He thrives in ways no normal human could. He communicates with animals. He possesses enhanced strength, speed, and agility that allows him to fight adult poachers, swing through trees at superhuman velocity, and withstand injuries that would hospitalize an ordinary person. The film wants you to believe this is just creative license, the fantasy element that makes Tasan stories work. But the filmmakers deliberately included the medical transformation scene. They showed us the cause, which means everything that follows isn't magic. It's biology gone wrong. Or perhaps gone exactly as someone intended. Chapter 1. The medicine that shouldn't exist. Let's talk about what actually happened in that ceremony, because the film gives us more information than it wants to admit. The shaman specifically invokes 3 animals: the lion, the gorilla, and the cheetah. Not random jungle creatures. 3 specific apex predators known for distinct physical capabilities. The lion for raw power and dominance, the gorilla for strength and protective instinct, the cheetah for speed and reflexes. This isn't symbolic. It's a formula. Traditional African medicine often incorporates animal elements, yes, but this ceremony is different. Watch the shaman's face when the medicines merge. He's not performing a routine healing. He's watching something unprecedented happen. His expression shifts from concentration to shock to immediate concern. He turns to Maviro and asks if he saw anything different with his eyes. Maviro confirms. Something changed when our medicines merged. We healed him, but something else happened as well. He is still human, but now he is also more. Not different, not changed. More. An augmentation, not a transformation. Tasan retains his human consciousness, his ability to learn language and human customs, his emotional capacity. But layered on top of that human foundation is something additional. Something that gives him abilities no human should possess. The Western medicine component is equally important. Dr. Porter is specifically researching medicinal plants for pharmaceutical. He mentions clinical trials and pharmaceutical representatives funding his work. This isn't a doctor bringing aspirin to a village. He's conducting active research on compounds that Western medicine has lost knowledge of. His own words, Western medicine has lost so much of that knowledge. But modern medicine has benefits as well. Just imagine what we can accomplish if we combine these ancient medicines with modern science. Combine them. He said it out loud. The entire premise of his research is synthesis. And then, during the most critical moment, that synthesis happens, not in a controlled laboratory setting, but in a dying child. The reaction is immediate and irreversible. But here's what should concern you, Dr. Hine. Porter has no idea it worked. He's told the child died, which means he's not looking for what he accidentally created. But what if someone else is? Consider the timing. Maviro is about to leave for London University, one of the world's premier research institutions. Dr. Porter is receiving pharmaceutical funding for his work. The village has been in regular contact with the outside world through Porter's annual visits. And yet, the moment this medical miracle occurs, the decision is made to hide it completely. Not just from Dr. Porter, but from everyone outside the village. The shaman says explicitly, the world is not yet ready for him. Not yet ready. Implying a future when the world might be ready. Or, more sinister, a recognition that the world would absolutely want this, which is precisely why it must be hidden. Because if you can combine traditional and modern medicine to create enhanced humans, the implications are catastrophic. Who gets the treatment? Who controls it? What happens to the concept of human equality when some people are literally, biologically more than others? The film positions this as protection for Tasan. But protection from what? From becoming a lab experiment, from being dissected to understand how the transformation works, from being the proof of concept for a superhuman enhancement project that powerful people would pay anything to access. The shaman understands something crucial. Tasan isn't just special, he's reproducible. And that's what makes him dangerous. Chapter 2. The cover-up and its consequences. Now we need to talk about the conspiracy itself, because it's far more organized than the film admits. Dr. Paranak, Porter is told the baby died. This is a deliberate lie maintained year after year during his annual visits. The entire village participates in this deception. Why? Because they understand that Tasan's existence proves something that would change everything. Watch what happens as Tasan grows up. He's not just raised by gorillas, he's actively educated by Maviro, who teaches him to read and write, who brings him vocabulary lessons, who maintains regular contact despite the risk. Maviro is the bridge between the human world and Tasan's jungle existence. And Maviro is the one person who could potentially explain Tasan's abilities to academic and medical authorities. Yet he doesn't. He keeps the secret for years. But secrets of this magnitude don't stay contained. The film shows us that Tasan has been protecting the jungle from poachers for years, destroying their traps, freeing captured animals. He's become a legend, the ape boy that hunters whisper about. People are actively searching for him, not because they want to study gorilla-raised humans, but because he's become valuable. One poacher explicitly says, "This ape boy is the one who's been destroying our traps and ruining our business. Do whatever it takes, bring him back to me alive." Alive. Because dead, he's just another victim of the jungle. Alive, he's worth something. And when someone finally captures footage of him, the response is immediate and overwhelming. People recognize he's not just a feral child. He's something more. His movements are too fast, too precise. His strength is too great. When Jane first encounters him, he's fighting a panther, a predator that should easily overpower a teenage human. Not only does Tasan win, he barely seems challenged by it. Here's where the film's timeline reveals something disturbing. Tasan is eventually captured and brought to London, where his grandfather, Lord Greystoke, recognizes him from footage. The grandfather had been searching, but not successfully, because the village had protected Tasan's location. But once Tasan starts attending school in London, his abilities become impossible to hide. During football tryouts, he displays speed and agility that shock everyone watching. He doesn't just beat other students, he makes them look like they're moving in slow motion. The film plays this for comedy, but consider what's actually happening. Tasan is attending a school with security cameras. He's interacting with pharmaceutical company representatives who visit Dr. Porter. He's living in the estate of an earl, with staff and visitors. Every day he exists in London is another day someone might realize what he represents. And someone does notice, though not in the way you'd expect. The animal smuggling plot that dominates the second half of the film seems disconnected from Tasan's origin story. But look closer. The smugglers aren't just stealing animals. They're stealing specific animals for wealthy clients who want to own something extraordinary. When they discover Tasan, their boss immediately recognizes he's worth more than all those other animals combined. Worth more to whom? Who's buying? What makes a superhuman teenager more valuable than endangered species? The film never answers this directly, but the implication is clear. There's a market for biological rarities, for things that shouldn't exist, for capabilities that can't be acquired through normal means. Tasan isn't just a curiosity, he's a product. And if he's reproducible, he's the prototype for a product line. This is where the cover-up's failure becomes inevitable. You can't hide someone with Tasan's abilities in a modern world filled with cameras, medical examinations, and curious scientists. Every interaction is a potential exposure. When Jane finds out about his powers, Maviro and the shaman immediately emphasize that other people would find out, and that would be dangerous for Tasan. Not just for Tasan, for everyone. Because the moment the wrong people understand how he was created, they'll try to replicate it. Think about Dr. Porter in this context. He's still researching medicinal plants. He's still receiving pharmaceutical funding. He's still trying to combine ancient medicines with modern science. What happens when he succeeds again? What happens when he isolates the specific compounds that, when combined, produce enhancement? The film shows us pharmaceutical representatives at his research site. They're not there for academic interest. They're there because traditional medicines represent untapped commercial potential. If they knew what had already been achieved, accidentally, 15 years ago, the conspiracy isn't just about protecting Tasan. It's about preventing the weaponization of the process that created him. Because that's what human enhancement becomes. A weapon. Not in the military sense necessarily, but in the sense that it fundamentally alters the balance of power between those who have access and those who don't. Chapter 3, The Superhuman Question. Let's address what Tasan actually is, because the film carefully avoids defining it. He's not a mutant. His DNA was altered by an external chemical process. He's not magical. The transformation has a specific medical cause. He's not simply well adapted. His capabilities exceed anything human training could produce. He is, by definition, a post-human, the first member of a new category of human being that shouldn't exist yet. Consider his specific abilities. He communicates with animals, not through training, but through some form of enhanced sensory perception or pheromone sensitivity that allows him to understand and be understood by multiple species. This isn't Disney magic. The film grounds this in his transformation. He can smell poachers from great distances, detecting specific scents like the odd smell he notices at the fundraiser that leads him to discover the smuggling operation. His olfactory capability exceeds anything a normal human could achieve. His physical abilities are even more pronounced. He defeats multiple adult men in combat without weapons. He swings through trees at speeds that allow him to keep pace with motorized vehicles. He survives falls that should break bones. When he fights the poachers to save the baby rhino, he doesn't just escape, he systematically dismantles their entire operation, taunting them the whole time because he knows they can't catch him. This isn't a kid who got strong from climbing trees. This is genuine superhuman capability. But here's the darker implication. If the medicine that created these abilities was accidental, what could be achieved intentionally? The shaman says, giving anyone else this cure could have unforeseen consequences. Unforeseen consequences. Not it won't work, consequences. Meaning it would work, but the results might be unpredictable or dangerous. Maybe the next person who receives the treatment doesn't get animal communication. Maybe they get something worse. Maybe they get the physical enhancements but lose their humanity in other ways. This is the ethical nightmare at the heart of the film. Tasan is a success story only because he retained his human consciousness and empathy. He uses his abilities to protect rather than dominate. But that's not guaranteed. The treatment combined the essences of apex predators, animals defined by their position at the top of food chains, by their capacity for violence, by their territorial instincts. Tasan got the powers without the aggressive instincts overwhelming his human compassion. But could someone weaponize this differently? Could you create enhanced soldiers, enhanced athletes, enhanced workers? The film briefly touches on this through Joshua, the school bully who becomes Tasan's antagonist. Joshua is the normal human alpha male, strong, confident, dominant within human parameters. When Tasan effortlessly outperforms him, Joshua's entire identity is threatened. Now multiply that dynamic across society. What happens to human competition when some humans are biologically superior? What happens to democracy when physical and cognitive inequality becomes unbridgeable? This isn't abstract philosophy. The film shows us exactly what happens. People immediately try to capture Tasan when they realize what he is. He becomes valuable, exploitable. The smugglers want to sell him to a private collector who's building a personal zoo of extraordinary creatures. Tasan would be the crown jewel, the impossible thing that proves anything is possible. And if that collector could learn how Tasan was made, he wouldn't need to capture extraordinary things. He could create them. Now consider the grandfather, Lord Greystoke. He's a powerful aristocrat with unlimited resources who discovers his grandson isn't just alive, but superhuman. Watch his reaction carefully. He doesn't immediately call scientists to study Tasan. He doesn't alert medical authorities to this miracle. He protects Tasan, yes, but he also isolates him, controls information about him, and keeps him within the family estate where access is limited. Is this protection, or is this possession? The film never suggests Lord Greystoke has malicious intent, but intentions don't matter when you're dealing with power of this magnitude. Even protective custody of a superhuman is still custody, and Lord Greystoke has connections to disaster relief organizations, pharmaceutical companies, and academic institutions. He's precisely the kind of person who could quietly fund research into replicating Tasan's transformation, not because he's evil, but because he's rich and connected and has access to the proof that it's possible. This brings us to the film's most chilling implication. Tasan isn't special because of who he is. He's special because of what was done to him. He didn't earn his abilities through training or virtue. They were chemically granted by an accident of medical experimentation, which means anyone could be Tasan. Any infant could receive the treatment. Any parent desperate enough to give their child an advantage might seek it out. Any government wanting enhanced soldiers might try to reproduce it. Any billionaire wanting to live forever might fund research into adaptive medicine that rewrites human limitations. The genie is already out of the bottle. The shaman knows it. Maviro knows it. And by the end of the film, Jane knows it too. She's seen what Tasan can do. She understands the science behind it. Her father is the one who created the Western medicine component, and Jane is going to inherit her father's research someday. What will she do with that knowledge? Can she unknow what she's learned? Can she resist the temptation to help people the way Tasan was helped? The climax. Here's the conclusion this film doesn't want to admit. The Tasan experiment worked. Not just medically, but as a proof of concept. You can enhance humans beyond their biological limitations by combining traditional and modern medicine in ways we're only beginning to understand. The transformation is real, reproducible, and potentially scalable. And the only thing preventing it from becoming widespread is a conspiracy of silence maintained by a small African village, a conflicted scientist, and a superhuman teenager who doesn't fully understand what he represents. But conspiracies fail, secrets leak, and knowledge, once discovered, can't be undiscovered. Somewhere in London, pharmaceutical representatives are reviewing Dr. Porter's research. Somewhere, footage of Tasan exists on school security cameras. Somewhere, the smugglers who tried to capture him are in prison, telling their story to anyone who'll listen. The secret is spreading, slowly but inevitably. When the world finally learns what happened in that village 15 years ago, everything changes. Not because Tasan is dangerous. He's proven he's not. but because the process that created him is dangerous. It's the difference between nuclear energy and nuclear weapons. The same science produces both, but the applications determine whether it helps or destroys. The film ends with Tasan returning to Africa, reuniting with Kala, and acknowledging that he belongs in both worlds, jungle and civilization. It's meant to be heartwarming, a celebration of his dual identity. But there's a shadow over that ending. Because Tasan isn't the end of this story, he's the beginning. The first superhuman won't be the last. And unlike Tasan, who was raised with love and taught compassion, the next generation of enhanced humans might be created deliberately, raised as weapons or tools or products. The shaman said the world isn't ready for Tasan. He was right, but the world is gonna get him anyway, whether it's ready or not. Because the Tasan experiment proved something we suspected but couldn't confirm. Human biology isn't fixed. It's malleable, improvable. And once you know that, once you've seen it work, the temptation to try again becomes irresistible. This isn't a story about a boy raised by gorillas. It's a story about the end of human normalcy, about the moment we gained the ability to engineer our own evolution, about the terrifying responsibility that comes with having that power, and about the conspiracy trying to delay the inevitable. Because once humanity starts creating superhumans deliberately, we can never go back to being merely human again. The question isn't whether we should create more people like Tasan. That choice has already been made by the simple fact that we know it's possible. The question is, what kind of world do we want to live in when superhuman becomes the new normal? And who gets to decide which children receive the gift that was accidentally given to one infant in an African village? The Tasan experiment succeeded. That's the terrifying truth this film reveals. And success in this case doesn't mean triumph. It means we've unlocked a door we can never close again.